If you could see this table underneath me, it is covered in papers. I'm still not fully unpacked from teaching it a couple weeks ago. I decided when I came home that I would sort out all my papers and put them back where they go instead of just keeping them all mushed together in the bin that I traveled with them in. But that's not what I came here to tell you. I am shooting this on my iPhone. I have a heater on underneath my table because my legs and feet are freezing today. The overhead lights are on, which sometimes create a little bit of electric interference. These are not cinematic choices, but I have been ruminating on shooting this video for a while. So it was one of those days where it's like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it and let it be imperfect. This is actually the third time I've tried recording this. I just got into so much story in the last few attempts. And so I thought, well, I'm just gonna try to keep it short and simple and to the point. We'll see if that's a thing I can do. There have been a lot of things on my mind, and a lot of things happen in our life in the last couple of months that have absolutely had a big impact on my creative flow, my workflow, my business flow, all sorts of things. And one of the tendencies that I have is to just kind of go quiet and retreat when I feel like I'm not like fully showing up the best that I could. But I also know that that's something that a lot of you struggle with too. And I thought, instead of just like hiding until I have it figured out and then coming out like nothing happened and just getting back on track with my creation and everything that I was doing before, I thought, well, maybe we can talk about this a little bit. Maybe I can share with you a little bit of what's going on and how I'm metabolizing all of it in my creative workflow. I mean, we all have like lots of backstory to every situation, of course. And I would say that probably the like ignition point of this really intense season that I've been in the last couple of years was when my mom passed away in October of 2022. It was unexpected. I feel like I hadn't completely finished grieving the loss of my husband's brother, who was a dear, kind, lovely human. He had passed away a year before. Unexpectedly, he got really sick, and then my mom passed, and because it was my mom, it just had this whole different flavor of grief. And so that year after her passing was very reorienting for me in so many ways. Of course, I was grieving and missing her, and honestly missing a lot of what I hoped she and I together would heal and resolve together. I considered her at that point one of my dearest friends, in large part because a few years before I decided I wasn't going to keep trying to hold her accountable for the things that were hard for me when she was just doing the best she could as a mom. And that was just a personal choice I made. I don't assume that everybody needs to make that choice, but I was able to really enjoy her and her laughter and her wit and her heart and her kindness. Some other family dynamics shifting and other things that I thought were like this solid foundational stuff were suddenly totally different. I don't want to say ripped away or pulled out from underneath. They just changed. Some things just changed significantly. And so it's like, yes, my mom passed, but also some other things in my life really, really shifted big. And then on the year anniversary of her passing, it was when we were in Italy, which was a huge experience for me to be able to have that opportunity. And it was just such an awesome experience to go and to be in this like magical, gorgeous, beautiful place while also remembering her, the impact of that 1-year anniversary. And some of you know this, I was adopted when I was a baby, and I'm really close to my dad and mom. I was close to them individually in different ways. And I'm just so grateful to have these wonderful, loving people in my life, to have had them, in my corner my whole life. And my parents have always been really open about my adoption to the extent that they knew anything. It was a closed adoption, so there was a lot that they just didn't know. I always wondered who my birth family was. And the circumstances just didn't allow for me to find them for a lot of years. This was pre-DNA testing, or at least easy access to that. This is pre-Facebook, none of that existed at the time that I was really committing to finding my birth family. And I didn't know if I was going to find my birth mom or my birth dad or who. I didn't even know what was possible. I just knew that I had 5 other siblings, and of course a mom and a dad out there somewhere. That's a whole nother story. But about 20 years ago, I was reunited with my birth parents, both my birth mom and my birth dad. And my birth mom had remarried when I was 3. So her husband, whom I call my step birth dad, has become and has been for all of those years, I mean, like immediate love, immediate adoration. His name was Leon, and he just loved us so well, so immediate, as if we'd always been his, as did my mom. It's just been this really precious relationship in our family. And our girls got another amazing grandpa. And a couple of months ago, we lost him unexpectedly. And of course, you know it's coming. You know eventually all of your beloveds are going to go one by one. I don't feel like the wind got knocked out of me the same way as it did when my mom passed. It's like the go grinding gears just all kind of came to a halt, and I just slow down and just be in your life for a little bit. And all of this while also feeling super excited about building and growing this YouTube channel. Also feeling a little bit unclear about what to create and post, not because I don't have lots of ideas, but because I know how I want it to feel, and I'm not quite sure yet how to create that feeling while being kind of in the same habituated way of creating videos that I do, like for my classes and my online courses. And I know I don't want my YouTube channel to feel like another online course. I'm figuring this out as I go. After having been, a content creator via Instagram and online classes and art teaching and blogging and all that for going on 20 years now, it matters more to me than ever that I only do what feels like true to me. There's so many years of like trying things out and experimenting and trying to see if I fit in here and fit in there, and like what's really me, what feels like what I'm supposed to be doing. All of that kind of sorting out that we do and we're learning. And I used to feel kind of embarrassed by all of the things that I've tried that like didn't work. And now I'm like, well, that's what we all do. We all try a lot of things, and, we develop our own tools for discerning what feels like the right thing for us. And people either love it or they don't. And you just do it anyway. So in my journey, in my internal question asking of like, how do I create videos that match how I want this channel to feel? That's what brings me here today, is like, in a way, I just want to be able to show up and tell you the truth about what's going on, about what I think about something, not just to like show you my real self, but to show you like my real self doesn't matter to your daily, journey. But if there's anything in my real self and my journey that can support and encourage you in yours, that would be the main reason it would be important for me to share. We're all in this together in some way. This life, this creative flow, this creative journey, this trying to figure things out as we go, this like learning how to be a human and how to be excited about what we're creating, how to dare create, period. All of that stuff, like we're all in this together in some way. And so that leads me to my most recent experience. It's weird how these all feel so like connected to me, but this recent experience is the one that's got me like, okay, today's the day I'm going to make this video. Okay, so here's what happened. On Sunday, so today's Tuesday, on Sunday, I was doing some yard work, transplanting some big bushes before it gets too hot and dry. And I got some sort of notification on my phone that a sign-in attempt had been blocked to Instagram. And I didn't think anything of it, because you'd think if you see sign-in attempt blocked, cool, no problem, crisis averted or whatever. And then a couple hours later, when I was done and I was in the house, I went to get on Instagram, kind of forgetting about that notification, and it wouldn't let me get on. It was clearly an attempted hack. I guess there's lots of different ways and versions and levels of being hacked, and I don't know what they all are, but all I know is to everybody else, my husband, to everybody else, my account looked fine, but I couldn't access it. I couldn't post anything. I couldn't even access other people's stuff on Instagram. Just this sinking feeling of dread came over me, because I rely so much on Instagram to be able to communicate with people, to be able to like share my work and say, hey, I have an art sale coming up. There's so much connection and community on Instagram that I have relied on really heavily over the last few years. And I have also been very vocal in conversations with people, not so much on Instagram, about like, stop putting so much value on Instagram. Stop making Instagram your whole world. Stop believing that you have to have a bazillion followers to be successful. Stop buying into, freaking out about the algorithm. Like, I have been so adamant about not investing so much of your energy and belief that Instagram or any other platform is like the end all be all that determines whether you're going to like have any success or not. And yet here I was having lost access to my Instagram account, feeling this heavy dread. It was like, what am I going to do? How am I going to, like, these automatic thoughts started coming in that were so ridiculous, but also they felt so real. Like, oh no, however many years I've been on Instagram, just gone, lost. I was assuming that it was just lost and gone, like I didn't exist anymore, how am I ever going to sell another piece of art without Instagram? Like, I was just spiraling into these thoughts of like dread and doom. And I was also really exhausted from the day. And I know myself well enough to not try to problem solve when I'm tired, when it's the end of the day, when I'm feeling anxious. So I thought, I'm going to deal with this tomorrow. And I went to sleep. I actually really struggled going to sleep because that dread was just so pervasive. And it's a little bit embarrassing confessing this because I can't believe I had so much like energy, belief locked into Instagram, but evidently I did. So I woke up the next morning and we had an appointment at like 10:15, and I thought, oh, okay, I'll see if I can sit down and figure it out before we go. But I had this like flash vision of it not being easy and not working and me getting more and more agitated. And I thought, I don't want to show up to the appointment agitated and frustrated, so I'll do it after the appointment. I decided to write all about the experience in my journal, to write it out. And I started writing out some of these thoughts and fears that I was having. And as I was writing them out, it was like, wait a second. These are really important questions for me to sit on. There's so many assumptions that I have here about my ability to succeed, my ability to sell art, my ability to cultivate friendships and relationships with people who do not live local to me. Like, so many assumptions I had that I didn't even know to examine until I lost access to Instagram, where those assumptions were tied to. And I had this thought of like, who am I? Who would I be today? It was Monday. Who would I be today if Instagram didn't exist? Or if I didn't exist in Instagram anymore? Like, who would I be? What would I do? How would I spend my time? How would I make art? How would I tell people about the art I was making? It was this opening of questions that mattered so much more than Instagram in that moment. I felt like I need to sit with these questions and not let a single one of them be rhetorical. Like, answer them, even if the answers seem so ridiculous or embarrassing or frustrating, and just answer them to myself, like not to anybody else necessarily, although I'm going to share some of them with you. And so, I just went about my day, got up, showered, made breakfast, all that stuff that we do in the morning. I had this thought in the shower because, some people get their best ideas in the shower. I don't know if I do, but I get some good ones sometimes. And the thought was, I'm not going to try to resolve this Instagram issue. I'm not going to try to fix my account access. I'm not going to even give it any more energy until I have created peace within myself, whichever way it goes. I want to get to a place of peace that I might never have access to it again, or a place of peace that I get it again. Like, either one, I want to get to a place of peace, which isn't to say that I wouldn't be disappointed a bit or bummed or, whatever, if I didn't get access to it. But that's different than believing that it has so much more weight in my life than it actually does. So I wanted to get to a place of peace of like, what is Instagram really for me? And what have I believed that it will do for me that actually has nothing to do with Instagram? It has to do with myself. It has to do with my own creativity. It has to do with my ability to figure out how to share things in some way. So at the end of the appointment, my husband and I were sitting in the car. It was so dark and dreary and cold and rainy, like super downpour rain. And he asked me if I was gonna, go try to figure it out next. And I said, I don't know. I feel like I need to just be in my life. And I shared with him some of the questions that I had been asking myself. The main one being like, who would I be if Instagram wasn't a thing in my life at all? Like sitting here right now in the rainy car trying to figure out what I'm doing next. If I lost my Instagram and decided not to go get a new one or start a new account, what would I do with myself and my time? Just exploring the answer to that question and not letting any of those questions be rhetorical. What I mean by that is like when we say like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do if I can't get Instagram back? And then we just stop there and keep being frantic with those kinds of questions. That's what I mean by rhetorical. Instead of just like having those kinds of questions and then not answering them, I committed, like, what would I do? I'm going to answer that question. I'm going to answer it with as many answers as I can think of, even ridiculous, dumb ones, even obvious ones. And like when I asked myself the question, like, what do I do if I don't have Instagram? If I lose all my followers? If I lose this account and have to start over? When I committed to it not being rhetorical, then I said things like, well, I'll email people. I have a decent sized email list. It's not as big as it could be, but it would be a great start. I have a Facebook account. I would post on Facebook. Like it became so like stupidly obvious, the things that I could do, to where suddenly the weight of Instagram being gone wasn't this big oppressive beast that it felt like initially. You know, it was like, oh, well, bummer, but we just figure it out. We just move on to the next thing. We start over. We grow. We take what we've learned. The list goes on and on and on about what I would do if I didn't have Instagram again. Interestingly enough, a lot of those things are things that I have felt like I'm not doing very well right now because Instagram's the easy thing. And even that, I'm not showing up as often as I would like to. And it became so interesting. You know, I basically just decided if this takes days or weeks or months for me to get to a place of peace, I'm going to do that. And if in the meantime something worse happens to my account because I waited, so be it. But I knew I didn't want to sit at the computer to resolve this issue while being full of dread and fear and anxiousness about it. I knew that that wasn't going to help me. I wanted to calibrate like my own inner beingness first. I want to be clear-headed. I want to be calm. I want to be at peace with whatever happens next. And so I didn't know how long it would take. I just knew I would feel it when it was time. And so this morning, I'm actually surprised it happened so quickly. This morning, I went to a birthday breakfast for my sweet little 8-year-old granddaughter. And then I went to the coffee shop, was writing in my journal. It's my favorite way to start the day, even if the day doesn't start until later. And then I got done and it was like, I'm ready. I'm going to do it. At the risk of sounding a little too woo for some of you, which is totally fine. I can be obnoxiously woo and you don't need to like it. It's totally fine. I said a prayer for help to know what buttons to push, what things to click on, that kind of thing. And I also asked for like energetic cords to be cut. Like if there's any nefarious energy plugged into me, some hacker vampire trying to like access just the good that I'm trying to do in the world, like sever those cords. So within 10 minutes, I had my account back. Everything was fine. Someone has already asked me, how did you figure it out? I don't know. I don't know what I did. I Googled something. I also prayed to know what to Google, what to ask for. I prayed to know what to click on because there's a million things you could click on, right? I clicked and I followed this prompt and I followed that prompt and I got asked to change a password. I mean, it wasn't as straightforward as I would have thought, but I just kind of kept going and it kept looping through the same like 3 clicks. And I was like, okay, this doesn't look good. But I noticed I wasn't feeling worried. I wasn't feeling dread. It was just like, okay, well, that wasn't it. Okay, well, that wasn't it again. I don't think any of that was necessarily this bizarre miracle. I think it's just the way the internet is. It's weird and verifications and all of this kind of stuff. But I do believe that coming to a place of peace within myself and then asking for help outside of my own fears was a big player in that easy restoration of my account. Because let me just tell you, on Sunday night, I had tried a ton of stuff. I could almost swear I had tried some of those same things and they didn't work. I was completely surrendered and at peace with the possibility that I wasn't going to get my account back. And so it's been this really interesting, I mean, it's only been like 3 days journey, plus all of these life heartbreaks that I see so immediately and intricately connected to, like, wait a minute, who am I and how do I want to spend my energy? All the griefs that I've experienced the last few years, knowing that there are more coming. My beloved dad is still alive. My birth mom is still alive. My stepdad's still alive. There are still people that I love and adore that are still here, who someday won't be. And new waves of a new flavor of grief are going to hit over and over and over. And so to feel like losing Instagram is so, for temporarily, for a couple of days, it has so much to do with what I have learned from grief and realizing, like, who am I committed to be when something is really, really hard? Am I willing to take responsibility for my own feelings? Am I willing to let them move through me, even though they don't make sense, or I don't know how I'm going to handle them, or I've attached so much of my identity to this or that circumstance? I want to soften into it. I want all my hard edges of certainty to be kind of shaved down a little bit. And I want to be open to things working out in a way that shows me where I have believed something outside of me is responsible for my peace and success. I'm so much more able to say, wait a minute, what's true here? And the truth is, I love my Instagram account. I love every person that follows me. And I would have been just fine if I lost it for forever. I would have figured it out. I would have created in some new way. I would have maybe started over. I don't know exactly what I would have done, but I know it would have been fine. And I know there's a lot of anxiousness around that kind of thing or something similar. If there's anything that I would love for you to take away from this experience, whether it has anything in your life to do with Instagram or not, the power of not letting questions linger rhetorically, I just really, really want to share that with you. Like, when something feels hard, when something happens and you ask yourself, like, how am I going to move on from this? How am I going to recover? Like, ask yourself for real. It's like, how am I? And it's okay if the first answer you have is, I don't know, but I will somehow. It's just so, it's like you have your own back in this super powerful, potent way when you're willing to answer the questions that only you can answer for yourself. So here I am with an AirPod instead of my fancy mic, overhead lights, heater, less than cinematic situation here. Just really wanting to encourage you to not let hard questions take over, to not let scary questions or fearful assumptions or anything like that run the show. You can make all sorts of decisions from where you are, no matter what hard thing is going on. That includes feeling disappointment, feeling bummed out about something. And you can feel all those things without buying into some lie that everything is ruined and it's all horrible and awful. The other thing that has been invaluable here, and this is what I want to leave you with, because I think it can help anybody in any situation, especially a situation that doesn't feel amazing, is to answer the questions that your mind offers you. Don't let them be rhetorical, especially things like, why is this so hard? Whatever those kinds of questions that come up that we usually utter as sort of a complaint, as if just speaking the question as a complaint is gonna change anything. Like, I really want to encourage you to not let any question be rhetorical and to ask yourself, why? Whatever the question is. And I'm not saying you're going to come up with an answer immediately, but exploring it with the intention of getting an answer and trying on different potential answers every single time. Eventually, if not immediately, eventually it's going to open up ideas in your mind for ways to answer those questions that you hadn't seen before. It never fails. When I commit to answering questions and not letting them be rhetorical, something always shifts. Either my feelings about the thing get better, more peaceful, ideas of how to resolve it that I hadn't had before come to me, or for whatever reason, the internet that didn't work on Sunday starts working for me on Tuesday. There's just so many things, unknowns in that. But it is such a gift to give yourself, to answer the questions that your mind tries to offer you, especially if those questions reinforce things that feel hard to you, or failures that you feel like you're having, or struggles that you feel like you don't know how to overcome. I hope you're encouraged in whatever way you need it by what I've shared here. It's totally off the cuff, probably could have been better scripted and more organized, but I wanted to share it with you before I found some reason to chicken out. And because one of my favorite things is to engage with people one-on-one. If you are going through something and you would like some encouragement, I would love for you to comment about it. My heart's with you. I want to encourage you in any way that I can. So see you in the comments.